How can I learn two languages at the same time? Hello, language lovers! For those who don't know me, I'm Diego and I'm passionate about languages. If you want to learn more about language learning, different cultures, and travel tips, this podcast is the perfect place for you. First, I want to share my personal experience. I'm not a language specialist. Everything I will share with you comes from my own journey as a language learner. Before I continue, I'd like to ask you to give me a thumbs up and share this content with someone who you might think it could be interested in this type of content. If you are listening to this episode in your favorite podcast platform, consider rating this show. On Spotify, it is super easy. You just need to tap on the star and give us 5 stars. With this small action, you are telling the world that our content is relevant. So let's kick off. If you want to learn 2 languages at the same time and you are not an English native speaker, I recommend you to start by learning English. Why? Because English is considered the world's language, the one you can communicate in most countries in the world, even in countries where English is not the official language. As a matter of fact, I've already been in many language meetings in Portugal, and most of the time people start their conversation in English. Moreover, if you travel to a different country such as Thailand, you will probably find someone who can speak English and guide you throughout the country. That's why I recommend learning English first. Once you know English at lower intermediate level, you can use it to learn other languages, such as French. With English, you unlock an unlimited amount of resources to learn any language. Plus, you can use audio lessons in English that teach you another language. Have you ever thought about using one language to learn another? Well, that's exactly what I did. When I became interested in learning French, I found an audio lesson method called Pimsleur. This method consists in audio lessons in which someone teaches you French in English. Can you imagine my excitement when I realized I could improve my English and learn French at the same time? Yeah, the audio commands helped me to get better in English while I was also learning French. Another thing I recommend is listening to podcasts in any language you want to learn. I've already made a video about this. I will leave the link in this video description and also in YouTube cards over here, I think. And by the way, now I will try to read the script I made for this episode. So don't be bored by the way that I was trying to look at my notes while I'm speaking with you in this episode, okay? But let's say you don't want to learn 2 languages where one of them is English. In that case, you can try reaching an intermediate level in one language and then use it to learn another. For example, you can learn Spanish and French at the same time. First, reaching an intermediate level in Spanish and then using it to learn French. I bet you can find some Spanish content on YouTube that teaches you French and vice versa. Also, languages like French, Spanish, and Italian have a similar structure regarding verb conjugation, which makes it easier to learn than once you know one. Want an example? Let's look at passé composé in French. This verb tense is similar to pretérito perfecto compuesto in Spanish and the passato prossimo in Italian. Let's look at the table. Passé composé, pretérito perfecto compuesto, and passato prossimo. In French, we would have j'ai parlé. In Spanish, yo he hablado. And in Italian, io ho parlato. You can notice that we have a main verb, in this case, the verb to speak, parler in French, hablar en español, and parlar in Italian. And then we have an auxiliary that would be avoir in French, haber in Spanish, and avere in Italian. So we have the conjugation with the present tense of the verb avoir, and then the past participle of the main verb. So you can see that those verb tense, they are pretty much similar, and once you learn one of those languages, you can understand better the other. However, I don't recommend learning Spanish alongside Italian, neither Spanish with Portuguese. Why? These languages are very similar, and it is easier to mix them up. As you saw in our example, this can lead to a lot of confusion. Instead, I recommend choosing languages that aren't too similar. For example, you could try learning French and German at the same time, or Spanish and Mandarin. But even then, I suggest mastering at least one language to an intermediate level before dedicating time to another. Why? In my opinion, learning a language is a long-term commitment. Long-term commitment. I also know that most people who watch this content in this channel don't have much time in their daily routine to study two languages from zero. Yeah, you have to need a lot of time to study two languages at the same time from zero. As adults, we don't have much time for language learning as children, who can naturally pick up multiple languages at once. And talking about that, I also recorded an awesome episode with Tetsu Young, a polyglot who shares some techniques for raising multilingual kids. If you are interested in this topic, don't hesitate and please go to episode 73. Or if you are watching this episode on YouTube, I will leave the episode over there, and then you can check out our talk with Tetsu Young. Thanks for watching Diversilíngua. If you want to be part of our community, please go to patreon.com/Diversilíngua. See you next time. Bye bye.